What is up, guys? The Denver Broncos Show. Evan here, back again, here to give you guys my extremely late game recap for the Broncos' 29-24 loss to the San Diego Chargers. Fell to 1-4 with this loss. Tough loss for us, but I thought we played valiantly, played with great effort, fought hard to get the win, and just fell a little short to San Diego. Congrats to the Chargers and all their fans here on YouTube on the win. They're playing really well right now. They're 4-1, and they're looking good. So congrats to San Diego on the win. Getting to the game itself, as I mentioned before, we fell to San Diego 29-24 at home. Fought, valiantly, just fell short. I thought we did a lot of good things, though. I thought our defense, for the most part, played very well in this game. I thought our defense has been pretty consistent all year thus far and has shown a ton of improvement in a lot of different areas. I think you got to give our defensive coordinator, Dennis Allen, a lot of credit for that. I mean, the really only poor showing this defense has had this year, really poor showing, has been the Green Bay game. But can you blame them? I mean, Aaron Rodgers is playing like a madman right now. But you look at what our defense did in this game. They forced two turnovers in this game. Once again, great to see them forcing turnovers, making some plays there. You had the forced fumble by Robert Ayers, was able to get to Phillip Rivers, knock the ball away from him. Great plays by Ayers there. And Cassius Vaughn with the pick six on Rivers. That was great to see. I thought we ran the ball with pretty good effect here against San Diego. We had 162 total rushing yards. McGahee, he had another great game. He had 16 carries for 125 yards, averaged about 7.8 yards per carry against the Chargers defense. That was great to see. And even Tebow saw it. He had 6 carries, 38 yards, and 1 touchdown in the fourth quarter. I thought our defense in the second half was phenomenal. The Chargers, had a pretty good second quarter in this game. They scored, I think, 17 points in that second quarter. That's what ultimately won them the game. But they were really clicking on all cylinders in that first half. And in the second half, our defense came out, started to play a little harder. You can obviously see our defense made some adjustments, and we held the San Diego Chargers offense to only 6 points in that second half. As I mentioned before, San Diego, their offense was clicking on all cylinders in the first half. They had 23 points in the first half. Our defense comes out in the second half, holds them to 6 points. That was great to see. Defense played real hard in the second half and did a great job of containing Phillip Rivers and Vincent Jackson. Give Champ Bailey all the credit in the world. He really shut down Vincent Jackson in this game. I thought we got good pressure on Phillip Rivers in this game. We had 5 sacks, hit him 3 times. That was great to see. Thought our offensive line did a very good job of protecting Tebow and Orton in this game. And obviously I thought our offensive line was good in the run block. As you can tell with us, as I mentioned before, racking up 162 total rushing yards. Our O-line gave up 0 sacks in this game. That was also great to see. You look at what Phillip Rivers did. He was 18-29 in this game for 250 yards, had a touchdown, and obviously the pick 6. I thought for the most part we held him in check. Malcolm Floyd was really the only guy that killed us on the Chargers offense, him and Ryan Matthews. Malcolm Floyd had 3 catches for 100 yards and a touchdown in this game. Had the big touchdown catch at the end of the first half. That kind of gave the Chargers momentum going in the second half. But Vincent Jackson was a non-factor here. He had 3 catches, 34 yards. Champ really locked him down. And I think you got to give our D credit. We did a great job of containing Rivers and Vincent Jackson. No Antonio Gates for the Chargers in this game. That probably affected their offense a little bit. But for the most part, I thought our defense played really well in this game. Got to give that group a lot of credit. Now looking at some of the bad things we did in this game, I thought our third down offense was terrible. We went 2-9 in our third down conversions. That really hurt us. Weren't able to sustain drives, and that killed us. Really made it easy for a good Chargers defense to contain our O. And our third down defense was pretty pedestrian here. We held the Chargers to only 8-16 on third down conversions, so the Chargers offense was converting on third down 50% of the time. That wasn't good. That hurt us in this game. As good as our defense was, we gave up 418 total yards of offense in this game and gave up 206 rushing yards to the Chargers offense. That really hurt us in this game. Ryan Matthews had a phenomenal game here against us, and I think you got to give the Chargers O-line a lot of credit. With Nick Hardwick and Chris Dillman, that O-line is a very good unit and a very well coached unit, and I thought they had a good game against our D-line. As I mentioned before, Ryan Matthews ate us up. He had 24 carries for 125 yards, had a big 36-yard run in this game, and he averaged about 5.2 yards per carry against us. Ryan Matthews starting to show that potential that everyone knew he was capable of when the Chargers drafted him this season. He's having a good year for them, and he killed us here. The Chargers really controlled the tempo of the game. I mean, you look at the time of possession here. Chargers had the ball for 40 minutes and 8 seconds. We only had it for 19 minutes, 52 seconds. I mean, can't allow that. I mean, like I said, the Chargers were in full control for most of this game. And that second quarter came back to kill us in this game. The Chargers outscored us in the second quarter 17-3. That's ultimately what pretty much loses you the game. And I thought our passing offense all game was very ineffective. We only had 113 total passing yards in this game. Got to be balanced offensively. We weren't that. I thought the rushing game was clicking. I thought McGahee looked, had a really good game. Tebow made some plays with his legs, but overall, just cannot really get anything going there through the air in this game. And, once again, as good as the defense was in this game, they gave up a ton of big plays through the air. I thought it was better than it has been the first 4 weeks of the season. But still, you look at what the Chargers did through the air. They had a 42-yard catch, 32-yard catch, 17-yard catch, 14-yard catch. I mean, that's just big play after big play you've given up through the air. Hopefully we can improve that, on that this week against Miami. Looking at some individual performances here defensively, Joe Mays is having a really good year. He had 9 tackles. I like Joe Mays a lot. I like the physical presence he brings to our defense. He's a big hitter, plays with kind of a violence, so to say. He does get lost sometimes. He does kind of play a little too aggressive at times, but for the most part, I think he's had a real good year so far. Had a good game here against San Diego. Then you look at DJ Williams. He had a good game here, 9 tackles and a sack for him. I thought he was big here. Marcus Thomas, who ended up coming into this game. Kevin Vickerson got hurt. I thought he played well. He had 8 tackles. It looks like he's going to be our starting defensive tackle for the majority of the year with Kevin Vickerson being put on the IR. I look forward to seeing what Marcus Thomas can do. I thought he was very good. Wesley Woodyard had another great game. He had 7 tackles in this game. He's got, I believe, 43 on the year so far. He's just having a great year. Great to see Woodyard starting to live up to his potential. 7 tackles for him here. Robert Ayers, another productive game out of him. He goes for 5 tackles and the 1 sack he had on Phillip Rivers in this game. He also had the forced fumble, as I mentioned before. Big momentum play for us there in the 4th quarter. Ryan McBean had a sack. Good to see that. And Von Miller, once again, gets a sack in this game. He had 1 sack here against Phillip Rivers in the second half. That's now 5 sacks in 5 games for Von Miller. He is having a great rookie year, obviously showing why we picked him with the number 2 overall pick, and he's just been phenomenal this year. Like I said, 5 sacks in 5 games for Von. He's playing great, and I really love what I saw out of him once again here in this game. And you can't ask for anything better with him having 5 sacks in 5 games. For a rookie, that's good. For anybody, that's good. But especially when a rookie's doing that, even though he was a highly rated prospect, we all know that he's still been great this year, and I've really loved what I've seen out of Vaughn. Another great game for him. And overall, I thought the defense was real solid. Not talking about some individual performances offensively. Start with Kyle Orton here. I thought he had a terrible game. I think this was probably Kyle Orton, maybe his worst game of the year so far. And I agreed with John Fox's decision to kind of pull him in this game and replace him with Tim Tebow, who kind of brought some life to our offense. You look what Orton did in his limited playing time here against the Chargers. He went 6 of 13 for 34 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception, and had a QB rating of 21. That's awful. I thought Kyle Orton was terrible in this game. He looked like he didn't care at all, really didn't play with any sense of confidence or urgency, made a lot of errant throws. The interception was just an awful read on his part, terrible decision by him to throw that ball, and I don't know what he was thinking there. He just played awful. I've supported Kyle Orton through the season so far, and I've supported him, being our starting quarterback. But this game was definitely his worst outing, and I definitely think John Fox made the right decision to bring Tebow in. Look at what Tim Tebow did. He goes 4 of 10 for 79 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions, had a QB rating of 101.7. As I mentioned before, he had a decent game running the ball as well. 6 carries, 38 yards, and a touchdown for Tim. I thought Tebow played well. There's still some issues, obviously, with his accuracy, made some errant throws. But the thing that Tim Tebow did is he gave this offense a spark, and that's something that you can't teach. That he lit a fire, so to say, under this offense, and we started playing with a sense of urgency. You saw guys fighting a little harder, and you saw that leadership come out. And now, Tebow's a starter. Looking forward to seeing what he can do now, being named the starter. And it's pretty much an 11-game audition for Tim Tebow. If he plays well, then he's going to probably be the guy we look to build around at the quarterback position for years to come. If he doesn't, with the way we're going right now, we're 1-4. We're probably going to end up with a top 5 to 8 pick. There's plenty of talented quarterbacks in this next year's draft that we can choose from. So I think it's a win-win for the Broncos in starting Tim Tebow, and I think overall, I thought Tim had a solid game. Would like to see him improve on his mechanics and his accuracy. I'd like to see that get better, but he's just a playmaker, man. He lit a spark under our offense. Really, was one of the main reasons we were in that game and led us back into the game where we had a shot to beat the Chargers there. and just played inspired football, which you love seeing at any position, but especially the quarterback position. But would also like to see him work on the center quarterback exchange. Almost lost a couple, of those. That's definitely got to improve. But overall, I thought Tebow was solid, and I've always said about him, I'm not the biggest believer in Tim Tebow. I've always liked him, but I'm not as big of a believer in him as most Bronco fans are. But I think the guy's always deserved a shot, and I'm glad that he's finally getting it. And like I said, it's an 11-game audition for Tebow. He plays well, you roll with him, you make him your franchise guy, hand the keys to the offense and the franchise to him, you start building around him. If he doesn't play well, and John Elway and Brian Sanders and John Fox don't like what they see out of him, like I said, there's a guy named Andrew Luck coming out in next year's draft, Matt Barkley, Landry Jones, Kellen Moore, Nick Foles, Kirk Cousins, Robert Griffin III. There's plenty of talented guys, Ryan Tannehill, that are coming out in next year's draft that the Broncos can go ahead and get their franchise quarterback next year's draft. So it's a win-win for the Broncos. Now I want to talk about the trade that the Broncos made today. I was a little surprised by the trade, but not too much. There had been kind of some rumors and rumblings going around that we were going to trade this particular player for the past week or so. The Broncos decided to part ways with wide receiver Brandon Lloyd, and we decided to trade him to the St. Louis Rams for a conditional 2012 draft pick. Apparently it's a 6th-round pick, but if Brandon Lloyd has 30 catches or more this season with the St. Louis Rams, that pick will become a 5th-round pick. So decided to part ways with maybe our best offensive player, kind of a head-scratcher in a way, but I don't mind the trade. I would have loved to see us, get a little more than a conditional pick, with it being a 6th-round, possibly could be a 5th-round pick. Would have liked to see us maybe get a 4th or even a 3rd or maybe even a 2nd-round pick for Brandon Lloyd, because he is a great receiver and he's a Pro Bowl wide receiver. Had a great year for us last year. He obviously is now reunited with Josh McDaniels in St. Louis. So it was a little surprising trade, somewhat head-scratching, but I'm not too upset about it. I'm more upset with the compensation we got back. But obviously the Rams are in desperate need of a wide receiver to help Sam Bradford out, and they get their guy in Brandon Lloyd. I think that will help their team. And we're obviously moving in a different direction, trying to rebuild our team, get younger. And we have a great, young receiving core. Eric Decker's emerged as a star this year. Demaryius Thomas is coming back this week against Miami. You got Eddie Royal there. Overall, we have a real solid young receiving core. Obviously, Brandon Lloyd was a leader of that receiving core, but I understand the move in that sense that, we're young at that position and you want to give guys the shot, and the Broncos are just kind of showing confidence in Eric Decker, Demaryius Thomas, and Eddie Royal with doing this move. And we even have Quan Cosby on our team. This will get him some more playing time. Matt Willis, got him. So I think we'll be okay at receiver. This just means that Demaryius Thomas and Eric Decker need to step up, and it is what it is. I hate seeing Brandon Lloyd go. I was a huge fan of the guy. I thought, he was a consummate professional while he was here. I thought he was a phenomenal player. The catches he made were just insane. The athleticism he showed and the circus catches that he made here and the plays he made here really were one of the big reasons we had such a solid passing attack the past couple of years. But regardless of that, I wish Brandon Lloyd the best of luck in St. Louis. I know Rams fans will be happy to see him there. And, I think he's a great guy. He was a great player for us, and I think he'll do great things in St. Louis. And I have not a bad thing to say at all about Brandon Lloyd. I wish him the best there in St. Louis, and hopefully he can help the Rams turn around their season. And as for us, just means Demaryius Thomas and Eric Decker got to step up, and hey, we get another draft pick for next year. Even though it's going to be it's probably going to end up being a 5th-round pick, but either way, if it's a 5th or 6th-round pick, whoever we select with that pick next year, probably not going to be anything great, but you never know. So we're just getting younger and we're kind of moving in that direction, and it's sad to see Brandon Lloyd go, but you got to move on, and I'm confident in Decker, Royal, and Thomas that they can make plays and kind of replace Lloyd. So that's my video, guys. Sorry for the length of it. Sorry for the lateness of it. Do my best to cut this down as much as possible. I'll probably be back later in the week for a Dolphins preview. If not, I'll definitely have a recap up as soon as possible right after that game. Good chance for the Broncos to get a win here against Miami. Take care, guys, and as always, go Broncos.